next, and her session is on identity mapping and finding your it factor. So Taylor Liu is a business mentor, and she helps people reinvent themselves from the inside out and sustainably scale their online businesses. She's been an online entrepreneur since 2014, starting at 2 businesses before the age of 25. And now she's here with us today to help us identify that it factor. And I know a lot of you brought that up yesterday, having multiple messages, and this is her bread and butter. So with that, Taylor, welcome to Emergence Festival.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that I caught the tail end of just everyone connecting and sharing about themselves a little bit and shaking it out. I needed a good shake before I got on here with all y'all. So I'm excited to be here. My name is Taylor Liu, and I'm going to go ahead and kick things off by sharing a special presentation that I put together for you all. And I want you to warm up your fingers because we're going to do a little keyboard interaction here. I want to hear from you in the chat because I want to hear some of your ideas on it factor, what that means to you, and really this idea of what makes someone unique, what makes someone magnetic. So I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint here. Okay, let's go big screen. And you may see me looking over here to the right because I can see all of your beautiful faces here on the right, and my PowerPoint is right in front of me. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see this all right. Give me a thumbs up. Yes, okay, awesome. Well, I am Taylor Liu, and today we're here to talk about identifying your it factor. This is such a fun topic. It is lighting me up and turning me on so much, and I'm so excited to share this with you all today. So, like I said, we're going to take a little bit of time to get warmed up in the chat, and I would love for you to answer 2 questions, and we're going to start out with number 1. Number 1, what is one quality you feel that makes someone really magnetic? I'm sure we all know those people who, when you're around them, you just want to know more about them. You want to be around them, period. They're interesting, they're attractive, and they just have this magnetism to them. So I'd really love to hear from you all in the comments. What makes someone magnetic? Whoops. I'm going to exit my screen so I can see you in the chat. Okay, we got lots of good comments here. Confidence in speaking. Their vibration is genuine. Their desire to be open, genuine smile. Answer for both, be authentic. Their openness and their energy, authentic smile, embodiment and presence, positive energy. Smiles a lot. I see a lot of smiles. Super authentic, can admit their flaws, very down to earth. I love that. They care very deeply and they show it. Down to earth. Amazing, you guys. Keep it coming. Connected to their heart. What else? What else makes someone really, really magnetic? Vibrant, exciting. What else? Think about those people you know who are super magnetic. What is it? Emphatic, full of energy, full of life, full of vibrancy, service-oriented person, makes you feel safe, a strong voice, joy, passion. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go aliveness. I love that answer. Powerful presence, always spreading love, engaging. Wow, just reading these words, I'm like, yes, I love these type of people. Completes projects, publishes, openness, fearless, free, and exudes freedom. Yes, that is so magnetic, so attractive. Okay, we're gonna move on to number 2. We're thinking specifically about you now. What is one quality that you feel like makes you unique? What is it that makes you specifically unique? Let us know in the comments. What do you guys got? Full expression, genuine. What makes you unique? Chelsea says, my enthusiasm for life and my welcoming, friendly nature. Chelsea, that is so true for you. Patience. I pray for others constantly. Resourceful. My art. My roundedness. My ability to be optimistic. Narissa says, groundedness. Awesome. My free expression. Authenticity. What else? What else makes you unique? My relentless optimism. Everyone always says that about me too. I love that. I'm relentless in my optimism. Soul, my energy. I make people feel safe with me. Beautiful. My love of life and others, my ability to share laughter. The world needs more laughter, especially right now. Thank you for being you. My optimism, that everyone can live their best life. I make people feel heard. Yes, the inner child. Awesome. Okay, thank you guys for playing along and getting warmed up in the chat with me. I'm going to play the PowerPoint again. And I just want to let you know that I am going to go over some really awesome information for you all today. And then at the end, we're going to do an activity together, and I'm going to take a few group shares on what comes up for you during the activity. But in the meantime, I would love to still hear from you in the comments. So if you're feeling something, or if you even have a question, go ahead and pop that in the comments, and then I will get to those at the end. Okay. So let me exit out of this chat really quick. Okay, now we're back. So you may be wondering who exactly I am. This bright, shiny person who's come to hang out with you guys today. My name is Taylor Liu, and I help powerhouse female entrepreneurs to discover and, more importantly, embody something that I like to call their it factor in order to grow their influence, their impact, and their online business. And I also want to mention, this is my Instagram handle right here, Taylor Liu Coaching. If you want to take a behind the scenes shot of anything that I'm sharing today and tag me on Instagram, please do so. I would love to reshare. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. Okay, so today we are here to talk about finding your it factor. And for me, it factor is all about authenticity. And I noticed that quite a few of you mentioned this in the comments today. And for someone to really have that magnetic quality, that irresistible quality, it's all about authenticity. And this is something that we hear all the time, right? It's just be authentic, be yourself, be yourself. But especially for those of you who maybe have a personal brand or who have an online business, it can be really difficult to understand what the heck that actually means in a tangible way. So about 6 months ago, I became really obsessed with answering this question of how do we actually have a process to dive into self-discovery in a way that makes us deeply, deeply understand our it factor, how to describe our it factor, and how to apply this it factor practically to our life, our brand, and our business. So this is really where the it factor method came into being. And something that was a really big shift for me as I was thinking about this question of what is this it factor? How do I define this? What is this, the most authentic expression of me? I started realizing that for the past 3 years, I've been coaching this is my 4th year coaching. And before that, I owned a social media agency for almost 4 years. And I realized that for so long, I was striving to be my best self. I was striving to be my future self. And I had this sense of like never fully reaching my potential and always seeing this future self as the holy grail of what I'm capable of. And while I do think that that served me in many ways to help me to become that avatar, that person that I was so deeply wanting to be. About 6 months ago, when I started diving into this it factor process methodology, I realized that actually what I wanted to do more than anything, what my soul was calling me to do, was come back home to myself, was come back home to a greater understanding of who I was always meant to be, my soul's blueprint. I truly believe that we all came into this world with a predetermined mission, a predetermined personality that has been shaped by our experiences throughout life. But we were all sent here. My belief is we were all sent here to play this little role in this giant, beautiful tapestry of life. And we were sent here in this period of time with a specific message, with a specific energy, and a specific purpose to have a beautiful impact in this little role in the giant tapestry of life. And I became really obsessed with understanding, what is my little role? What is my essence? What is my most natural and effortless essence and message and purpose? Something that I don't have to strive for, but something that's been within me from day one of my life. And a lot of this came about through looking deeply into my past. And that's something that we're going to get into today. But I just wanted to preface this by saying that the it factor that we're looking for today is really this process of finding your way back to who you were always meant to be, and then learning to infuse that clarity into your life, into your brand, into your business, into the way that you naturally show up. Okay, so before we get into more specifics of my it factor process, which is what you see here on the screen, I want to talk a little bit about the agenda for today's call. So I am going to go through my signature it factor process. I'm going to share a little bit about my story. And my hope is that you all walk away with deeper inspiration to discover more about yourself than you ever have before, and to trust that all of your answers to all the big questions that you might have right now in your life, in your brand, in your business, lie in your personal story. And I'm also going to take you through a identity mapping process where we're actually going to, together as a group, look back into your personal story and find those nuggets of those clues, I like to call them. We're going to find some clues as to what is this it factor for you. Okay, so give me a 1 in the comments right now if you're with me, if you're excited for this process. Give me a little bit of feedback. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Give me a 1 in the comments. Yay! Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So my it factor process is really based on 3 main things. Are you ready for it? Number 1, your natural essence, your most natural energy. Number 2, your convicted message. What is that message that from day one, it's been so clear that this is what you're here to say? This is how you're meant to use your voice. And the last piece of this method is your embodied medicine. Your embodied medicine, your most natural way of impacting others. And I specifically work a lot with business owners. And when I take business owners through this process, every time we get to embodied medicine, they tend to go straight to what I would call their I help statement. which some of you might be familiar with. I help a certain demographic do a certain thing through a certain process. And I always encourage people to start with this macro level view of who they are, who they're meant to be, in a way that in understanding this, that this is so much bigger than just your business. It's so much bigger than just your current career. Although there's a lot of practical application here, when I'm talking about embodied medicine, I'm talking about when you were 10 years old and the way that you were when you were 10 years old and the natural impact that you had on other people. That's what I want to encourage you to look at during this process, because I promise this is going to give you amazing clarity in your brand and business if you're someone who is showing up online and who has their own business. Okay, so what happens once you get clarity on this it factor? What happens when you align your life with your it factor? So many things, so many incredible things. All of a sudden, life stops feeling like an uphill battle where you're fighting yourself every step along the way, where you are constantly confused and seeking out, like, what am I meant to be doing with my life? And in a business context, for me, I was always struggling as a multi-passionate person. I was always struggling to find, like, what really makes me different, what really makes me unique, and what is going to help me to stand out in a pretty saturated industry of coaching. Like, what is that thing that is really going to attract all the most aligned clients and continue to bring in lots of abundance and make me feel so fulfilled and authentic along the way? And once I went through this process of self-discovery, of finding my it factor, all of a sudden things like my business model became crystal clear. My signature talk became crystal clear, which is what you're watching here today. And not only that, I started getting so much feedback from my friends and family about how grounded and authentic that I seemed. There's so much that can happen once you decide to intentionally align your life with your it factor, actually using your it factor as the roadmap for everything that you create. Okay, I want to share a little bit about my personal story. I've been hinting about it here, but I want to share this with you. And as I share this with you, I invite you to see yourself in this story. And I invite you to ask yourself the question, could this happen for me if I were to really start building my life, my business, my brand around my it factor? Okay, so 6 months ago, when I became obsessed with this question of what is my it factor, I had already built a pretty successful business. I was working with lots and lots of clients for the past 3 years, but I felt like I was pretty all over the place. I was really having a difficult time, like I shared, of understanding what actually will make me stand out in this industry. And so I went to a workshop one day that was put on by Annie Lala and Eben Pagan. Some of you might be familiar with them and their work. They're amazing, amazing facilitators and educators. And I went through their process of looking at the different chapters of your life and the different roles that you played in those chapters and using it to better understand how you transform. That's their process. And during that workshop, I realized that little 10-year-old version of me was the most alive, vibrant, expressive version of me of all time. This little girl loved to go to craft stores and get pieces of fabric and wrap them around herself. She loved to sing and dance and share her opinion. And she was just so magnetic in the way that she showed up. And as I looked at the different chapters of my life, I realized there's so many beautiful pieces of myself that helped me to have a better understanding of, oh, this is actually not something that I need to step into. This is the pieces of me that are so unstoppable are already there laid out in my past. This clarity was huge. This was massive. And I started to see my brand and my business in a new way. And I actually redesigned all of the offers in my business in a way that aligned with my it factor, with my natural essence, with my convicted message, and with my embodied medicine. And through that inquiry of how do I align everything in my life, not to mention, a side note, I actually bought a house with my partner that is totally aligned with my it factor, is literally me from top to bottom. And that came through, that manifested during this exact time. And then a new course, a new signature course was downloaded through me as well. And I went from having like pretty good success in my business, but feeling all over the place, feeling like everything didn't really have a lot of synergy or cohesiveness, to downloading this course, launching this course. And I ended up having my first 6-figure sales month right after the month of all of this clarity coming through. And I share this with you, not because it's about the money, but because I want to show you what can happen once you really identify this it factor and align your life and your business with it. There's so many benefits, intangible and tangible, in this physical world that will happen when you do this. And then the second month after that, I end up having almost another 6-figure sales month, which was a quantum leap in my business. And the only thing that changed was getting clear on this process right here. Okay. And I want to briefly share with you another story that I think is a great illustration of this. Grace was one of my clients this year in 2020, and we started out working together. She was really struggling to bring on new clients in her business. And a similar situation as me, super multi-passionate. She could do anything. She could define herself as anything. And we worked together to go back to the basics of her personal story and her personal identity, and really understanding like who is she from the perspective of who was she always meant to be. This most natural, effortless essence, her convicted message, and her embodied medicine. And after working together through this process, her revenue went from $3K a month to $8.5K in that first month after we worked together. And then the next month, she already had $11K booked in sales. And then her next month, she had $15K in sales, which is amazing. And again, it all comes down to this deep, deep level of self-awareness and self-discovery. It is so, so powerful. Okay, so this method, I want to share some pieces with you all today. I want you to walk away feeling like you have clarity on this process. And my hope is that this opens the door for you to commit to getting so serious about this self-discovery. And we're going to do a little bit of identity mapping today as a group, as I said. And we are going to use this identity mapping process to define the first piece of my it factor method, which is natural essence. So I have a much longer process that goes through all 3 of these pieces, but For today, we're just going to focus on your natural essence, and you're going to walk away with 5 words that help you to better articulate that natural, magnetic, irresistible essence that each one of you possesses. Okay, give me one in the comments if you're still following, if you're still excited about this. We are going to get a little crafty. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, go ahead and get those out. I'm going to take the screen off of full screen. So let me see your faces. Awesome. Okay. So go ahead and get your piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to do some identity deep diving. All right. And I am going to lead us through this exercise. And in between the instructions, I'm going to be playing some music. So I think I'll go ahead and test that out now. All right. If you can hear my voice over the music, give me a thumbs up. We're all good? Awesome. Okay. So go ahead and draw this line on your piece of paper. And you're going to make 4 little tick marks on the line, just like you see here. And if you're feeling fancy, you can add the little arrows on either side. And while you do this, start connecting in with the music. Maybe placing a hand on your heart, syncing up some of the energy in the room. Maybe looking at some of the little faces and the little boxes on your screen. I'm super grateful to spend this time with you all today. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for witnessing me and my magic and my it factor and my essence. All right. We're going to take a little journey back into the past of your life. And I want to invite you to take this journey with me with the utmost love and compassion for all of your past selves, for all of the roles that you played in each chapter of your life. We're going to take this journey through a lens of better understanding who you are. And not only who you are now as a result of the many experiences that have shaped you, but that little person, that little child who came into this world to play a very specific role in this larger, beautiful tapestry of life and of humanity. So the first step of this process, I invite you to think about 5 main, big, transformational chapters of your life. And the easiest way to do this is to think about big transitions. So maybe you moved to a new city, or maybe when you were younger, high school for a lot of people is like a big chapter, big, crazy chapter. And so the first time that I did this, I had like 10 different major phases of my life, different chapters. But I invite you to narrow it down to just 5. 5 chapters. And what we're going to do is see if you can. I'm actually going to stop the share completely. Okay, you're going to think about the age range that you were in this chapter, and then a couple notes about what was happening in this chapter of your life. A certain, like where you were geographically, what was happening. So you see, for me, I have age 5 to 12 was my first chapter. I went to a school called High Meadows, which was like a very free-spirited nature school, which was amazing. It really all makes sense when I look back. I'm like, oh yeah, of course I went to that school. And then I have age 13 to 17. That was high school. Age 18 to 22, college. Age 22 to 24, post-grad, living in Atlanta. And age 24 to now I'm 28, living in Austin, Texas. Those were my 5 main chapters. Take a minute and figure out what those are for you. And then we're going to add on. We're going to layer on. Yes. Leave this on the screen. So we're just doing the bottom part right now. I'll just put this up periodically. Yep, it's coming back, y'all. Amy asked a good question. If we're older than you by a lot, can we add more chapters? My challenge would be to keep it to 5 or 6. You're just going to have longer periods of time in those chapters. I know that can feel difficult, especially for those of y'all who feel like you've lived like 20 lives in one lifetime. And for simplicity's sake, 5 or 6. Let's shoot for that. I love you say y'all like an Austinite. Well, I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm originally from the South and now I'm in Texas. right, take about 1 more minute. Katie says, what are we writing underneath the ages? Just a couple notes about what was happening in your life then. So for me, I kept it pretty simple, like college, Atlanta, Austin, Texas. Yeah, just a couple notes about the setting. Basically think of it like chapters in a book. Like what was the setting in that chapter? Okay, either look up or give me a thumbs up if you're done with that piece. See some maybes. Done. Okay, I guess not everyone's on video, so maybe let me know in the chat too if we're good to move on or if we need another minute. Done, done, done. Okay. And know that you can come back and spend more time with this, but we are going to layer on. At the end of this exercise, you're going to have 5 words to make up your most natural essence. Okay, so the next thing that I want you to think about is who you were in each of these chapters of your life. What is the role that you played? What is the character that you played in each of these chapters of your life? And so you're going to maybe make some notes about some characteristics that this person had. And then you're going to give this person, this past iteration of self, a name. You're going to give each past self a name. So it's going to look like this. And if you want to do it like me, basically I did some brackets over here, up above the timeline and between each section. And then I made my little notes about the characteristics here. And then I named my person here. And then don't worry about this yet. So for me, ages 5 to 12, I gave myself the name Pippi Tay. That was my softball name, like Pippi Longstocking. Really, really long red hair, wore in braids all the time. And Pippi Tay was super magnetic and self-expressed and bold and carefree and fun-loving and smart. Yeah, she was a trip. And then age 13 to 17 for me was Tay. And she was more emotional, courageous. She really wanted to be liked. And she often dimmed her light in order to be liked by others. And remembering to see this past and these past versions of self through the lens of compassion and love and gratitude. So characteristics up here and the name of the past self here. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions on how to do that. And my names are kind of plays off of my name, Taylor. I went from Pippi Tay to Taylor 1.0, Taylor 2.0, and then Taylor Lou, which is who I am now. But if you want to create like totally different names for each iteration, that's cool too. And this might flow to you super easily right now in this moment. And maybe not. Maybe this is an exercise that you keep working on later today. Trust the flow. And for those of you who jumped ahead and are already done with this, the last layer that we're going to add on is you're going to ask yourself, what is the big clue from each chapter, from each iteration of self about your most natural essence? So what is one word that you're taking away from that person that you were in that chapter of life to help you better understand your most natural essence? So what, for an example, Pippi Tay showed me that I am expressed. I am super expressed. My most natural, authentic essence is expressed. Tay showed me that I was very intuitive. Taylor 1.0 showed me I was confident. Taylor 2.0 showed me I was free. And Taylor Lou showed me that I was magnetic. What is the one word, that little gift, that clue to your most natural and magnetic essence? Who you're always meant to be. You should end up with 5 or 6, if you had to have a 6th chapter, a set of 5 or 6 powerful words that describe you. Chelsea, do you have your words? Put them in the comments. For anyone who already has their words, let us hear them in the comments. Chelsea says expressive No surprise there. Wild, bold, truth, and purposeful. Does that feel like you, Chelsea? Does that feel like your most natural essence?
Yes.
Yeah. Open, free, brave media artist. Empath, leader, wild, free, nurturing. Uninhibited, sensitive, brave, bold, resilient. Reserved, smart, growing, love, transformative. Confident, loving, strong, brave, fast learner. Confident, excited, social, passionate, ever changing. Beautiful, beautiful words. Keep them coming as they come through. And then I would love to hear, I'm going to turn off the music. I would love to hear your voices. I would love to bring a couple of you up with me and share what that process was like for you. Anything that came up for you, anything that wants to be witnessed. Magical, golden, invincible grace. I love it. Beautiful. All right, I think I have time for 2 people to share. So if you want to share, I think the easiest way, yes, is to raise a hand. I see a raised hand. Where are you? Where are you? Mute. I don't know if maybe tech support you can, oh, I see you.
Hey. Sorry.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How do you pronounce your name?
Asia.
Asia. Nice to meet you, Asia.
Nice to meet you. So I just love this. This is something that I've been wanting to like figure out. And I think that this is like a really good exercise. So thank you so much. One of the things that I noticed when I first was like writing things down, because I have a very hard time remembering things from the past, from my childhood. I don't know, it just leaves me. And so all I can remember were like the sad moments, the things that like were just not good, or like, you know, those are the really moments that change a lot of us anyway. So that's what I kept coming to mind. So I'm very shocked that I was able to come up with 5 positive words that kind of describe me throughout it all. And as I'm like thinking, and when you talking about like brand and things like that, it's just like I'm the one that put uninhibited, sensitive, brave, bold, and resilient. And like I just think back and I'm like, oh my, holy crap, like that is so true, you know? And like, I don't know, this is such a helpful, I'm gonna like, I feel kind of emotional just like, cause a lot has happened, but this was just like really, really powerful, a really powerful exercise. Like I'm so excited.
Thank you for sharing. And I just want to honor anyone else who feels similarly, that there were some really heavy, tough, challenging moments in your past. And I'm so happy that you shared, because those moments, those chapters in our life can actually sometimes show us more about ourselves than the times that were just easy breezy, everything's going well.
Yeah, how you treat people and what, you know, just be very observant of yourself. And yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the resilience, I heard that in there, brave, bold, resilient. Especially if you've been through a lot, that resilience piece is such a core part of who you are. And how exciting.
I think a lot of people too, like around this time, just like bouncing back are really just facing a lot of like things like shadows and stuff like that they don't really want to see. And it's like, okay, how can you really come back from that? And I don't know, I just noticed too, like as I was thinking back over my life, I'm like, I never let because I am a sensitive person, I oftentimes like to refer to myself, if you ever watched SpongeBob, the episode where Mr. Krabs didn't have his shell. That's how I kind of feel right now. So I feel very like, you know, sensitive. But at the same time, I never let, when things did hurt me, I never let that like color my worlds. I'm always very like optimistic. I even wrote a note to myself of like how painful it kind of was to be so optimistic in like the face of like such it was such a weird pull between the two like realities, I guess. But I couldn't stop being optimistic. I'm like, but there has to be better, and it just like kept me going. But yeah, like I never. That's why I said I was brave and bold, because I always wore my heart on my sleeve. I was always like gonna put myself forward, and like, and I don't know why, because I've been hurt so many times, but I just never let that stop me. I don't know, it was just natural to me to do acting that way. So that's powerful to realize.
I love it. And I love you use the word natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I feel like, especially in the personal development industry, there's this need to always be transforming and becoming. And you're like, I just want to be that person. Right. But for you, you just had powerful insight around, no, what's actually just natural.
Yeah. Like, what am I going to just naturally do? You know, like, don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Like, who am I just naturally? And when no one's watching, who am I? And then the next step, which I'm noticing I don't have a ton of time left, but the next step is to apply that. If you do have a brand or a business, or even just your life, like, how do you start being more intentional about applying the things that are so natural and effortless for you? And there's something I talk a lot about. It's called unconscious competence. It's like, what are those things that are just so easy for you? And then how do we break that down into frameworks, into teachings, into philosophies, into thought leadership that you can use to position your brand, if you have one, that you can use to really stand out in your industry.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's the next level. Didn't have a lot of time to go into that today, but just wanted to plant that seed of just starting to think about that. And that was the big shift for me. I was like, how do I take this unconscious competence that I have, and how do I break it down? And then I created a new course from it. And now I have multiple courses from it, and just everything has shifted. Wow. Because I was like, oh, all I need to do is just take what's natural for me and then break it down and use that to help people.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm so excited to start.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate your vulnerability and just being here.
Thank you.
Okay, one more share. Who wants to share? Do the little hand raise thing. I love that capability on Zoom.
If no one wants to share, I'll share.
Okay.
So
is it Shimmer?
No, it's me, Narissa.
Oh, Narissa. Awesome. Hi, Narissa.
Hi. So I've just been having some breakthroughs since like yesterday. And then this helped even more. But I've always been really like nerdy in the sense of like really loving history and like origins. Like I feel like that's part of my like, I don't know, gene keys or something. I have to learn more about that. But I just always like gravitate to that. Like when someone's talking about something, I'm like, well, what's the like origin of that? Where did it come from? Like who started that? Like, you know, things like that. Who started that idea? And so the breakthrough that I have had is that I'm an artist and I went to art school, and then I also did study abroad in Florence and learned art history, like got to experience it like hands-on. So I think I'm going to, not I think, I am going to start a YouTube channel this year and
yes.
actually make videos about art history and just like tap into that. So I don't know what it's gonna look like exactly, but I feel like, you know, especially with this exercise and one from yesterday, I'm like, this is what I like to talk about. And so like, let me just like talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I love that, because all the answers are in your past. And I feel like you're seeing that, you're connecting with it, and you're understanding how to apply it. And the rest of my It Factor process goes into more deeply, like how to excavate the message and the embodied medicine. And so I'm curious, what is that like message that you feel really convicted to share with your YouTube channel that you've kind of seen in the evolution of your past?
Well, I think just knowledge because I am a painter and I I've taught art before, so teaching has always been part of my path. So I think to give knowledge and then also like I don't know, I guess to help people to like just understand more, like to not be so mindless,
Mm,
more like let me think about like this shirt I'm wearing or this food I'm
mhm,
or this this thing I'm into.
mhm. So I started feeling your conviction at the not be so mindless. I
Mm,
really felt like some charge to that, some conviction, some emotion. So I definitely encourage you to dig in deeper there to find the message. Because you started talking about the medicine, which is awesome too. And I would really think about the message there. There's something on your heart
mm.
about not being so mindless. So, and if you want to reach out to me afterwards too, we can chat about this. But this is like my jam. Thank you for sharing. I love the art history piece, and I feel like it can tie into a lot of the other passions that you have too. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, everyone. This was such an awesome session. So much fun. I hope that you learned a little bit more about yourself and, more importantly, understand how unique you are and how much you have to share with the world through your essence, just who you be naturally, through your message, what you were born to say, and through your embodied medicine, how you were born to impact others and letting it be easier, just letting it be a whole lot easier because it's just you being you. And I also want to let you guys know before I hop off, please connect with me on Instagram. Taylor Lou Coaching is my handle. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to chat with you in the DMs. I also have a course on specifically on the It Factor method that is coming out in a few weeks. And this came through, I had my personal branding course is called Reinvent You. And the first module was basically the It Factor method. And people loved it so much and got such amazing results from it that I decided to break it off and make its own course. So the personal branding course is like $1,500, and this is going to be like $297. So super accessible for everyone. And that'll be out shortly. And also, if you join the waitlist, you'll also automatically be sent my It Factor statement template, which will help you to kind of put everything together that we talked about today. And the It Factor course is going to go way deeper into especially the messaging part and the embodied medicine, and basically everything that I couldn't get to in this short period of time. All right, I'll leave it at that. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Chelsea, and everyone at the Emergence Festival. This is super fun as always. I appreciate all the work that you've done.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Can everybody please take themselves off of mute? Rub your hands together. Ilakesh alaken.
Hashtag.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Taylor.
Taylor.
Appreciate it.
So amazing. Definitely